gonna go to sleep. Alright, gang.
When a young man became obsessed with a character from the Walking Dead video games, he developed an infatuation with her so strong that it would take him down a path of pure murderous madness.
Huh? He did all this for Clementine? Don't tell me he did all this for Clementine.
Every once in a while on this channel, we'll get someone who's obsessed with a game or obsessed with a person. I'm going to be
attending the session with Taylor.
A person from a game quite to this extent. So let's start off by taking a brief look into the family at play here. This is the story of the Prosper family, a family living in Luton in the UK, a family consisting of a father, a mother, and their 4 kids. The whole family seemed normal, if not something akin to a wholesome TV family. All of them were regular congregants at their local church and excelled at what they did in life.
Of course it's UK
Juliana,
niggas.
48 years old, has been described by those close to her as being a strong, loving mother to her 4 children. When she wasn't working her job at a local Sainsbury in Luton, she was an athlete and a volunteer. She'd spend weekends raising money for various charities, always thinking about ways to put other people first. One of her sons was named Kyle. Kyle was a 16-year-old boy who attended a local Catholic school, Cardinal Newman Catholic School to be specific, in the family's neighborhood. He was fairly active in football and boxing, but he was also the creative type. He had a TikTok account where he was starting to make a buzz, with it having been said that he had a lot of potential in the area. More than anything though, he just liked to hang out with his friends like any other boy. The only daughter in the family was 13-year-old Giselle Prosper. She was described as a lovable kid with a smile that would infect anyone around her. She was doing very well at Lee Manor High School, excelling in all of her courses in 9th grade. She really treasured her family, especially her older brothers. One of these older brothers, though, 18-year-old Nicholas, didn't quite fit in with the rest of the family.
I could tell bro's good at Smash Bros. Just off the fit. Just off the look, he's good at Smash Bros. Crazy looking hair, geek ass glasses. He's good at Smash Bros. He's real good at Smash Bros. Already.
He was different.
Look how
quiet,
he is.
A bit standoffish, and extremely opinionated.
Yeah.
He was said to have been mentally ill, with those close to the family hearing that they had been trying to get him some help for quite some time to no avail. While it isn't known what kind of help he received, it's abundantly clear that it was not enough. When looking into Nicholas's online presence, it's very easy to get a glimpse of his true colors. Nicholas, over the years, has been banned from various different online communities, but that didn't stop him from making new alternate accounts. For a time, he was fairly active on Reddit. One of the subreddits that he particularly enjoyed was called r/WatchPeopleDie, which is pretty explanatory from the title alone. This sub was very similar to all of the old school shock websites out there, showing video clips of real-world violence, executions, accidents, disasters, and even people ending their own lives, hosting anything from videos of car crashes to live feeds of acts of terror. The description for Watch People Die read as follows. Welcome to Watch People Die. This is a community for documenting and observing the disturbing reality of death. This is not intended to be a shock or gore subreddit. Please follow a few basic guidelines. This community is intended to observe and contemplate the very real reality of death. We are attempting to provide a service by showcasing this content. We value the first responder, military, coroner, and mortician community that participates here. Be careful and be safe. While Watch People Die was fairly prominent in some corners of Reddit for a while, it was during the aftermath of the Christchurch Mosque Massacre that the subreddit really came to be frowned upon. After all, the subreddit hosted the full, live version of the video where all 49 deaths were captured there, crystal clear on video for all to see. It was due to this that both r/WatchPeopleDie and r/Gore were removed entirely after Reddit went under fire in the media for hosting the video. Both subs were left with nothing but a message saying that they violated Reddit's policies, saying, specifically our policy against glorifying or encouraging violence. The viewers
Hold
of
on, I
Watch
got-
People Die weren't all too keen on letting the subreddit die, though, so they decided to move to a new, standalone website modeled after Reddit in order to keep on posting as normal. Nicholas moved to this new platform as well, where he became fairly active.
Okay, look. I don't understand why. Let's keep watching. Let's
over
keep
multiple
watching.
accounts.
This is shocking. Hold
On
on.
these accounts, he mainly posted
This is
comments
probably for
on
the shock
various
factor.
gore-related videos in which he would joke, troll, and most notably
Why
argue.
is he trolling under?
Nicholas displayed a
He is joking, trolling, and arguing under gore videos. This nigga was a threat to society. No, he was
hatred
a
of
threat
women
to
in
society.
general, who he seemed to identify
And he
as
was
feminists no matter
misogynistic.
what the context. On various videos of women dying, he would post comments such as, "Bye feminists," or "They're probably feminists," brushing off their deaths entirely. On one video where it appears that a young girl took her life after being assaulted, he commented, "Feminist propaganda, she died 'cause the dick was too good." Something that garnered him a lot of downvotes even on a dark platform like this. It seemed at the time that, if the
niggas if what? No. If the people and watch people if the people and the watch people die subreddit are downvoting you, you are wrong.
Nicholas was more interested in men.
This nigga,
In a thread about the
hold on, what?
at the time that, if anything, Nicholas was more interested in men.
Oh!
In a thread about the manifesto of the Tennessee shooter, in which the killer was notably transgender, Nicholas commented that reading the manifesto made him rethink his views on trans people and wished that he was a, quote, darling femboy. While that comment may seem bizarre but harmless enough, his other comments where he showed his sexuality were anything but that. On a thread asking about the most painless way people could end their lives, he commented that having gay relations with him would be the best method. On an image of Matthew Crooks, the attempted shooter of Donald Trump, he simply commented, "I think he's cute." More disgustingly, on another thread about a survivor of the Parkland shooting, Nicholas simply commented that he wanted to put his mouth on the nipples of the guy, getting him even more downvotes than
God, I want to suck his puffy little nipples. Parkland happened, like, close to me. I know Parkland survivors. This nigga's talking about dead people like they're kittens. Hold on, bro. I can't be using that word too much.
the last
He's talking about dead people like they're kittens.
heavily criticized comment. Then, on a video where a man ended his and his child's life on livestream, Nicholas commented that the video made him hard in a very excited manner. Even more disturbingly, he took his interest to videos of younger boys. On one video where a boy jumped to his death from a building, Nicholas commented on the thud sound it made, writing, 90% of the impact sound was his cheeks clapping. On another in which another boy lost his life, he commented, "Why did no one start jiggling his butt after?" This brings us to what was arguably Nicholas's
This nigga is sick!
Hey guys, RentJPG here. Did you know that 85% of you guys aren't subscribed? What are you doing right now? Click that button and don't miss out on 2 to 3 videos a week. Let's get back into the video.
biggest problem, his unhealthy interest in children. Some comments were not sexual, but simply
Let's go back. I went back to get something. What did he say?
90% of the impact sound was his cheeks clapping. On another in which another boy lost his life, he commented, "Why did no one start jiggling his butt after?"
We heard that.
This brings us to what was arguably Nicholas's biggest problem,
WPR, oh
his
God.
unhealthy interest in children.
Oh.
Some comments were not sexual, but simply inappropriate, such as one in which he joked that the victims in the Sandy Hook massacre were crisis actors, likely a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic remark towards the conspiracy theory. But it landed flat and got him downvoted regardless. In other posts, though, he began to delve into what would get him banned.
Yo, if I knew this nigga was my brother, I would not be in pictures with him at all. Y'all would not be spotted. Bro, if I knew my brother online activities, You guys will not spot me in pictures with him at all. I would not be, bro. I will disclaim him every time somebody bring him up. I don't want him to be known as my brother, bro. He's getting disclaimed. Bro, no. Is that your, no? That's not, nope. That's all I'm gonna say.
and even from a shock website.
Like a
Nicholas
shock
had a cause
website
that
don't
he was
even,
actually very passionate about: defending relations with children. If he saw an argument against pedophilia, he would take it upon himself to argue against it, usually using some sort of prove to me where's the harm type of argument. If anyone didn't wish to argue with him on this, he would annoyingly rant about how they had failed to counter any of his brilliant arguments or come up with any counter-arguments of their own, failing to see that most people simply didn't see the need to argue that this kind of thing was bad. To most people, it was simply a given that having relationships with children was bad, but to Nicholas it wasn't quite so clear. Nicholas didn't even like when people used the term convicted pedophile, lashing out with comments such as, "Sorry, what's a convicted pedophile? I don't speak retard." On another thread mocking a similar type of criminal,
Because they're centrifugal forces.
Listen, son, how about those girls at your school? You like any of them, or what?
Oh gosh, no. But we did learn about how female insects tend to colonize their
What about sports? Basketball, football, you want to play?
But you know, the football was actually a Chinese competitive game that they cultivated, and so it was interesting.
Nicholas began to argue about the age of
if you ask me
consent,
what?
saying, "What if she's 17? Where do you draw the magical arbitrary line?" In others, he argued that statutory charges should not be referred to as rape. Finally, Nicholas decided to go on a long, rambling rant about why he feels that having relations with children isn't bad. When arguing, he would often attempt to write his posts like an academic paper, citing sources and demanding that his opponents do as well.
This nigga was citing sources to prove that having relations with a child is not wrong. He was citing, bro, he took his time to do research for this. He sat down and did research for this, chat. He went down and cited sources. He did research, chat. He did research like he was writing an essay for college.
One of these rants was finally the last straw for Nicholas's account. This was when he wrote this big fat bowl of word salad. To avoid inevitable rhetoric and misinterpretation surrounding the legal terms of consent and rape, I'm going to use involuntary and voluntary sex instead. I don't support involuntary sex with children. I do, however, see no issue with voluntary child-adult sex, stemming from empirical findings. And then he cites a source. Studies purporting harmful long-term effects and pervasiveness due to child-adult sex often use clinical sampling which don't represent the general population of children legally sexually abused. Off the top of my head, clinical samples are vast majority females, and only consist of cases considered serious enough to report, in contrary to the
Saucy Santana was having consensual sex with, no wait, never mind. I was about to say something wrong. Never mind. I'm gonna be quiet about that.
where a large quantity of instances go unreported due to lack of perceived seriousness. There's another source. In addition, these studies count for no confounding variables.
He's stating sources.
What's interesting is when the definition of CSA was made over-inclusive. For college samples, the way of these clinical studies, upon controlling for compounds, family environment, retrospective perception of willingness, the effect size became almost non-existent.
Yo, I'm telling you, bro. All you have to do, bro, is to think about when you were a child. Think about when you were a child. You had no education about how things work, right? And you probably were scared of your own penis. Right? Ain't no bro, what? Bro, this fucking dork pissed me off. Like, bro, no kid in the right mind would know what it means, bro, at all in their right mind. No kid will know what it means unless they were exposed to it badly. No kid should know what that means.
With little remaining values being attributed
No kid should know where babies come from, like up until the age of like 13. Up until the age of 13.
to unaccounted for
like that.
variables.
And then even still after the age of 13, no kids, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't know how to say it. No kid should ever experience that, bro. Like, no kid should ever be experiencing, you know how traumatizing that shit will be? Like when they look back at it, they're gonna be like, yo, I really got used. You feel me? Like, bro, like if you ever like sit back at it and you had, you know, as a young kid, it was always somebody who was more advanced than you. It was always somebody who was more advanced than you that did it with you too. It's always somebody that's more advanced than the kid. The kid probably don't know shit, right? It's always someone who's more advanced that just trick you out your draws, bro. That's why kids should not be having consensual sex with adults either way. It's because the adult is way more advanced. They're tricking the kids out. The kids don't even know what it means, bro. That's why it's called, this is my goal. That's why it's called statutory R word for a reason. Like they don't know what they're doing. Yo, what's good, Black? How you been? Last night was a wild night. Bro. Like that's why it's called statutory R word for a reason, bro. Because they don't know what they're doing. You're basically using the kid. Bro. Like, that's why it's statutory R word. You're basically taking advantage of the kid. They don't be knowing shit. Like, bro, at 13, I seen it, but I would be definitely afraid of doing it, bro. Weird.
Source. With the idea of informed consent as necessary prerequisite to avoid harm being utterly unfounded.
Look,
again, supported by the
Here's a
Kinsley
key.
reports where the retrospective
like
recall rates of
Glassdoor.
positive, neutral, and negative experiences being almost synonymous for child-adult and adult-adult sex. I'm willing to discuss any criticisms or issues you may have with the Rind study. After this, Nicholas was finally banned
Hold on. Who's the sick-ass nigga who studied adults having sex with kids? Who's the sick-ass nigga who did that? Who was the sick-ass scientist that went up to the government and was and asked for a grant to research something like that? Like who? Yo, who was the sick-ass nigga who did that? Stop saying my gov. Why do I always... Anyways, I'm not gonna call you by your gov, bro. Unless you know my gov. If you know my gov, I'm gonna call you by your gov. That's it. That's how it's gonna work. If you know my gov, I'm gonna call you by your gov. But that's gonna be in like private DMs. And on stream, you're Black. In private DMs, no JJ being weird like always. In private DMs, you're your gov, bro.
Watch people die. Unable to handle this, he immediately made a new account to argue with moderators, saying that he didn't break any rules.
Bro.
The moderators told him, simply, that they had a rule not to sexualize children and that Nicholas was doing just that. Nicholas then argued about the definition of sexualization.
He tries to argue about sexualization.
Moderators weren't willing to argue with Nicholas in his pseudo-academic fashion, simply telling him that they would unban him if he contributed a video of his own death to the website.
Well, unban you if you submit a video of your...
And asked if the mods were
thumbnails.
mentally challenged, to which they said that they may be, but at least they don't advocate for having relations with children. So
They
Nicholas
may
continued
be.
to rant
Next
that the rule
summer?
wasn't explicitly
Nah,
defined,
bro.
so he couldn't have broken it. They simply just banned his new alternate accounts as well.
Okay, they banned his alts.
Nicholas, dejected, decided to enter into other forms of social media in order to get his fix.
Bruh.
He made a new
Bro.
account on Instagram where he mainly posted crude drawings. Almost nobody followed him, however,
Nigga
he
had
followed a
one
little over 100
follower.
people himself.
Damn,
Concerning
nigga, you look like a fan, bro.
most of the accounts he followed were those of kids, or at least
Oh.
teenagers. One of the pages that he followed was even a memorial page for the child victims of the Sandy Hook incident. Nicholas was a huge fan of the Telltale Walking Dead video games, and that's
Oh.
putting it lightly. He played the games over and over
Oh.
again. These games are made in a choose-your-adventure type style where
I'm
players
playing that, you feel me? I got a series going on. If you want to watch it, the playlist, you gonna find
choices will affect the
Go
way
on
that
my-
the story plays out from
it.
then
Probably
on.
the one I made. You made a
Nicholas
vid for
became
it?
extremely infatuated with one of the main characters, a young girl named Clementine. Nicholas became so obsessed with Clementine that he began to use her as his default picture on various forms of social media. He also opened up an account on Pinterest simply for the purpose of collecting pictures of Clementine, collecting hundreds of them. If you remember his old comment about wishing to become a femboy, that actually included a line referencing Clementine as well, one that read, "If not an inter-universal transportee in a Clem Close The Walking Dead game body, I wish I was a darling femboy." This meant that he was so obsessed with Clementine that he wanted to travel to her universe and take over her body, or at least a body very similar.
Yo,
Nicholas, in his own words, began to see Clementine as a sort of
I
religious
understand.
figure, feeling that he was destined to follow her and do anything he could to support her. Nicholas, not content to keep his love for Clementine to himself, decided to introduce his family to the Walking Dead games, mainly his younger sister Giselle. However, he was appalled with the choices that she decided to make in the game. In the story, there are 2 points in which the viewer is able to choose whether or not to kill human characters in front of Clementine. While Clementine isn't physically harmed, if the player does so, it leaves the young girl traumatized throughout the rest of the game.
I mean, I killed both of them.
Giselle apparently chose to make those decisions while playing the game, something that greatly angered Nicholas. He never quite got over this, seething in animosity towards his sister, and gradually to his entire family from that point onward. One of the new forms
So, he killed his family because his little sister decided to kill 2 video game characters.
of social media that Nicholas decided to try out was none other than YouTube. His account has since been deleted, and
He was a Jujutsu Kaisen fan.
while the text remains here and there, the videos have been mostly lost. Creepily enough, when I tried to watch his videos on the archive, I kept getting nothing but this grudge-esque video no matter what video I clicked. Weird glitch. Luckily, while a lot of videos are gone, they were viewed and described by both Dusterfan
Mad at
and
his
No
family
Sheet Facts
over
on
video game
YouTube,
character.
who documented
Yes,
their
bro.
contents.
I'm done.
Special shout out
Okay.
to them. On his channel, Nicholas mainly continued his arguments from Watch People Die, defending the acts he wanted to commit with children. He even defended people who watched content that was, let's just say, the worst of the worst. While most of the videos themselves were fairly brief, they mainly consisted of complete
Responding to arguments against necrophilia.
rambling that was noted as being very
Institutionalized pseudo justice. How it affects PDF file. What?
very hard to understand. If not for the text that Nicholas put into the video's descriptions that clarified his points, it would have been very hard to understand what he was even trying to articulate.
I want to hear his
In one of
voice.
his channel's videos that does still remain, he spent a good few minutes arguing against his ban on Watch People
I
Die,
wanna hear his
saying that he
voice.
was given a false reason for his ban, claiming that they banned him because they simply didn't like him. He seemed to completely fail to understand why people didn't really like his comments.
He had to be autistic. He had to be autistic, but there's certain autistic people who don't act like that. Who don't act like that. He had to have some type of autism. Like he had to.
He claimed that nobody explained to him what he did wrong, despite the fact that they did explain
Yeah,
it
he's
fairly
autistic.
clearly.
This video is in reply to the 10th man on Watch People Die. The context of this is that I've been banned for pedo, which basically means I'm banning you because I don't like you, I guess, considering I've broken no rule and no one is willing to explain how I've broken any rule. I've tried to reason with these people. What I've done is I've made a slew of messages combating misinformation and comments based on empirical findings and comments made purely for academic purposes in spreading knowledge and understanding on this topic. Not one person was willing to explain to me what I said, how what I said was sexualization, because that is the rule they try to bend.
So never mind.
In justifying my ban, I wrote the definition of sex.
No. He grew up with a mother and father. This is he lives in the UK. He grew up with a mother and father in a good neighborhood. He grew up with a mother and father in a good neighborhood.
Here, and you can read that. There is no sexual objectification anywhere. It really is just combating misinformation, and obviously they have responded with no care, like always.
Accomplishing nothing by ranting about his ban, Nicholas instead chose to post more videos in which he continued his rants. From this point onward, every single thumbnail he would use would be a black and white drawing of none other than Clementine. In the first new video, one called Streamlining PED Discourse, with it being pretty clear what PED means, Nicholas compared a child consenting to play football with kids consenting to have relations, questioning how the
is. I'm throwing boiling water on this fucking dork.
Hold on. The TTS interrupted what he said. Bro, throwing water on him, nah, bro. Wall that nigga up.
Streamlining PED Discourse, with it being pretty clear what PED means, Nicholas compared a child consenting to play football with kids consenting to have relations, questioning how the
A kid know what football is. A kid know when they play football. You know, it's fun. It's fun. A kid don't know what relations is. Half the kids don't know what relations is up until the age of 13. And most kids don't start having relations, from my experience, from my friends that I knew, most of my friends didn't start having relations until they were 15. Like deep into their freshman year, bro. Did you get my comment on what? On what? I think if he's obsessed with younger Clementine, so he's talking about 8-year-olds. 8-year-olds do not know what that means at all.
Were any different, as they were both physical activities. The next video was one called Institutionalized Pseudo-Justice and How It Affects Pedophilia. In this video, he mainly posted a huge, extremely long dump of vaguely described sources into a large text file, much like he did on Watch People Die, adding that he felt there was no, quote, inherent harm in getting with minors. He posted the file into the description of the video for anyone to download. In a video called 2024 UK Riots, Quick Thoughts, he complained about mass immigration. This lines up with some of his posts on Watch People Die, in which he says that he enjoys watching Indians die and that Muslims should go back to their own countries.
Yo, and he's racist! Yo, does he not understand? If it wasn't for mass immigration, he would not be in the UK.
In response to Jay Lillen, he basically just responds in his usual manner of arguing to a YouTuber who made a video called
There's a Storm
Debating the Devil, a video in which the existence of the devil was questioned, a video that Nicholas didn't really seem to enjoy. Even on the video itself, he left similar argumentative comments. The next video was a very dark one, possibly even darker than the content up until that point, a video called Responding to Arguments Against Necrophilia. He once again talks about kids, only this time they were being involved with necrophilia. He says that while the dead cannot agree to cremation, they can still be cremated.
Hold on! He was defending having sex with dead kids! What the fuck am I watching? I just didn't hear from Curls. I usually take naps to the stream. Bro, I heard from him yesterday. I need to text him again. This motherfucker disgusting, yeah, I'm out. Cause what the fuck? This nigga
meaning
is
that it should be fine to
weird.
also have sex with them. In the next video called You Don't Follow Epistemic Bounded Rationality, Nicholas talks about a wizard who is able to magically conjure up a bunch of fake CP. He wonders if the person who viewed that media would be in the wrong, given that no child was actually harmed. In this video, he notably talks about seeing the notorious dark web video Daisy's Destruction, in which an Australian criminal named Peter Scully tortured a young girl in some of the most brutal, heinous ways imaginable in order to excite his buyers. It's widely considered to be one of the worst things ever shown on the internet, but Nicholas was describing the content within and defending those who have watched it. In the video, he also references what seems to be an imaginary relationship that he is in with Clementine. Finally, we have Kingdom Level Above Human. In this video, Nicholas discusses the afterlife in various religions, even cults such as Heaven's Gate.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
He wonders how his experience in the afterlife might be. It shows
We got 11 minutes left of this shit, bro. Let's hurry up and get to the part where he killed his family. And I hope he did it to himself too, because he should not. I don't want to breathe the same oxygen as him. Yo, I'm gonna stop breathing until we're done with this video. I'm holding my breath. Now.
Shows that at this age, he assumed his life may very well be near its end. Nicholas was never able to forgive his sister, or by extent his family, for the choices that she made in the Walking Dead game. Even months after the fact, he was still horribly offended and bitter towards them. While he was able to hide it outwardly, he had come to despise them internally. It came to the point where he decided he couldn't handle it anymore. Nicholas was somehow able to purchase a shotgun despite not having the license required in the UK to do so. He went home.
How did he get a shotgun in the UK? How do you attain a shotgun in the UK? Yo, what's good,
I can't believe I share air with these niggas, bro.
I can't believe I share air with these niggas, bro. On God, bro. On God, bro. How the fuck do you get a shotgun in the UK out of all places? Niggas be sword fighting. They're trying to ban knives too. Niggas be sword fighting for fun.
With it, and there he set up a webcam, put on his best bucket hat, and began to film a video. Right away in the video, he clearly states that, due to the decisions Giselle made in the game, he was planning on mutilating her face beyond recognition.
On June...
Hold on. Let's go back. Let's listen to this nigga.
He was planning on mutilating her face beyond recognition.
On June 30th, my sister decided to make the only correct choices in episode 1 of season 1 of the Walking Dead games, and for that her face will be mutilated further than necessary.
After mentioning his sister, he turns his attention
Just for that, we're making all the terrible choices just to spite him. We had to make all the terrible choices in The Walking Dead.
To a video he saw on YouTube. This was gameplay footage of the Walking Dead game recorded by a channel called Living Echoes. In this video, which was a compilation of the best moments between Clementine and another character, the YouTuber made the same choices that his sister did, appalling him even more. However, he abruptly stops talking about this.
I also recall a video by Living Echoes on YouTube. Best of Lee and Clementine Definitive Edition. It was a compilation. And he decided to kill Larry in front of Clementine. And then I later learned he decided to kill the St. John's in front of Clementine.
It's never that deep. It's never that deep. Like, it's never that deep. It's never that
Nicholas
deep.
had actually already posted angry comments on Living Echoes' video about how he felt about the choices he made.
Why did you kill Larry? Wait, hold on. Why did you kill Larry and St. John in front of Clementine? Why? Like, it's never that deep. It will never be that deep, bro.
Finally, Nicholas went into his religious views involving Clementine, saying that he is her chosen one and compares her to Jesus Christ.
I am the chosen one, chosen by Clementine.
Fuck
I'm
Larry.
guided.
That's
as
why he
Christians
died from a
are
heart
guided
attack.
by Jesus Christ. And there will be no more killings of Larrys in front of Clementine, no more killings of St. John's in front of Clementine, and overall Clementine's content will be preserved, maximised. That's the message I want to give out.
This nigga thinks Clementine is a real person. This nigga thinks he's the creator of the game, bro. This nigga, not gonna lie, you can't compare anyone to the Lord and Savior. Yeah, he committed blasphemy. He's burning in hell. Bro, he said no more killings in front of Clementine. Nigga, who are you?
Nicholas then logged on to Pinterest and uploaded a few more pictures to his Clementine folder one last time. September 13th, 2024. Nicholas pulled out his shotgun and approached his family at around...
This happened recently? Why wasn't this on the news?
Nicholas pulled out his shotgun and approached his family at around 5:30 in the
I thought this shit happened in like 2020. This happened recently.
After a confrontation, he shot his mother, Juliana, his sister, Giselle, and his brother, Kyle, killing all three of them. It seems that his father either didn't live with them or wasn't home, as well as his youngest brother. Getting some items for protection, he picked up a few knives from the kitchen. Nicholas then fled the scene on foot. It isn't really clear if he knew where he would go, but he took off running regardless. While several neighbors heard the gunshots, they weren't really accustomed to violence in their area. The majority of them figured that the noises were that of a car backfiring. Some neighbors, though, did call the police to come check things out just in case. Shortly after the calls were made at around 5:30, the police made their way out to the home. Upon entering, they found that 3 people had been murdered. During a search of the area, they were able to find Nicholas's shotgun abandoned. Police began to fly drones around the scene and over a huge section of river nearby after finding the weapon. Now on the run, Nicholas uploaded his final video to Mega. He then posted the link to the video on his personal Facebook at 6:22 a.m. As news came out about what had happened, the neighbors of the family reacted in shock. One neighbor, a nurse who had lived there for 22 years, said, "Everyone gets on here, but there is an undercurrent of bad behavior. I'm shocked. To hear somebody had a gun, never. I walk here late at night and never had a problem, never felt unsafe." Nicholas was finally caught by the police as he ran down Birmingham Road. He was arrested there on the sidewalk as onlookers recorded. To start off, he was charged with possession of a bladed article, the kitchen knives he grabbed, in a public place so that the police could at least keep him under their thumb for a while as they investigated. It became abundantly clear that Nicholas was the murderer. Shortly after, he was hit with additional charges of purchasing or acquiring a shotgun without holding a certificate, and, one day later, possession of a shotgun. It came time for Nicholas to briefly show in court for the first time. At the hearing, the gallery was mainly filled with various members of the remaining Prosper family. He appeared, shackled, with a gray jumpsuit. It was then that his father, Ray Prosper, sobbing, yelled out to him from the stands, "I still love you, son. It's not your fault, okay?" The deputy district judge, Robert Borwick, detained Nicholas into custody and ordered him to appear at the Luton Crown Court for a preliminary hearing in a few days. Until then, Nicholas was locked away. The judge said, "I have no power to consider bail, so you are remanded in custody until that day." While waiting for Nicholas's hearing, those who knew the family were left to reflect on what had happened. They established a memorial for the family outside of the apartment building where they were murdered. A co-worker of Juliana said, "She was just the loveliest person. She had a heart of gold. She would speak so highly of her kids." Another friend of Juliana said that she lived for her children and was a positive person who will be so terribly missed. The mother of one of Giselle's friends from her music class also came out to pay tribute. She said, "She was a very sweet girl. She was a very lovely girl. We are all so shocked." Giselle was described by her school as both a beautiful soul and a model pupil. The school's head teacher said, "We are deeply shocked at Lee Manor High School by the tragic incident that occurred on Friday in our local community and devastated by the loss of our pupil, Giselle Prosper." Friends of Kyle's from school said that he was a quiet boy who never made any trouble. One of their mothers said, "It is so heartbreaking. My son was a close friend of Kyle. He was a lovely, smiley, quiet boy. It's so hard to believe that this happened to him and his family." Kyle's school said that the incident was devastating as they offered condolences to his family. A statement issued by the school said, "We are shocked by the tragic incident that occurred on Friday in our local community and deeply saddened by the loss of one of our own students, Kyle Prosper. This is devastating news to all those who knew and loved Kyle, and it will take some time to come to terms with the profound sense of loss. We have already sent important information to parents and carers that outlines the support we have in place for students when they return to school on Monday. We know this will be a difficult time for students and staff, and we will do all we can to support them with love and compassion. We extend our heartfelt condolences to Kyle's family on their immeasurable loss, to his friends, and to those in neighboring schools who are coming to terms with their own loss. We pray for all those who have died in this tragic incident." Living Echoes, the YouTube channel that Nicholas talked about in his video, came to find out by his comment section that he was mentioned in the final video before the murders. He didn't take it too well, saying that his videos were only there for entertainment purposes, asking what he should do. I think it's safe to say that nobody really blames him for simply uploading some gameplay footage. He would have no reason to ever believe that it could end up being a factor in something like this. The remaining Prosper family spoke out, saying that they were very grateful for the support they had received from friends, family, the police, and the local community since the murders. A GoFundMe page was set up for the family, quickly raising a pretty good chunk of money to go towards funeral expenses and other
They didn't even have enough to bury them, bro. No.
costs. Before Nicholas's hearing even came about, the GoFundMe campaign raised about £15,000 of its £20,000 target. One day before Nicholas's hearing, the campaign not only
They didn't even have enough to bury the family.
managed to meet, but also surpass its goal by the thousands.
No.
Nicholas's hearing came about on the 18th of September 2024. The judge, Michael Simon, decided to keep Nicholas in custody until another hearing in December. On December 5th, he would be expected to enter a plea and begin preparing for trial. This was due to the time it may take for an expert report on Nicholas and his mental health issues to be made. It would also take some time for a full pathology and forensic report to be made on the crime. For now, it has been said that the actual trial may take place in March, but that is subject to change over time. We'll just have to see where this goes. At the very least, at least someone like Nicholas is good and locked up. Once again, thank you for watching my video. If you found it interesting, please give it a like.
I need them UK butt warriors to take his butt, like, badly.
It helps me out.
Since he like it so much, I need them UK butt warriors to take his butt. Yo.
The algorithm, and feel free
I pray for violence against him.
to subscribe.
I pray that he gets shanked up. Okay.
If you want to see more content like this.
My fault.
Just recently, I've started up a podcast with 4 of my
I just watched one of his videos. He cool as hell. I love his videos. What's up, Mom?
friends called the NBR Podcast. If you find this channel interesting, you might like that one as well. I also opened up a merch store. There you can get yourself some cool Dire Trip related t-shirts.
El Nicholas,
if you want, go ahead and follow me on social media,
bro.
because if anything were to ever happen to this channel, that would probably be the only way you'd ever hear about it. I also really appreciate when people follow me on Patreon. There you can get videos early, ad-free, and uncensored. Channel memberships are back up too, and you can get